times moms lose their kids on paternity court.
She has took my son away from me. He took her mama out for her birthday and didn't take me out for mine.
Why did you lie?
Because he had a chance to have the DNA.
It doesn't matter what he had. You had a chance for 32 years to tell the truth, and you chose to keep telling that same lie.
I believe Jesse was your father.
Miss Swinton here boldly denied the paternity of the defendant's child, and baby mama was so not happy about that. Oh, she blamed it all on grandma, whatever went wrong. Get ready, people. We have a rumble on our hands.
Your Honor, the reason why I'm here is because, as far as I'm concerned, the child don't look anything like none of us. And basically, I feel like my son is much younger than her. This woman, she's blaming my son as the father because she knows my son is a hard worker, he makes good money, and she figure, why not pin it on him?
Long ago, there was a Candyland in town. One day, Miss Walker had a craving of candy, so she went to the candy lady's house. But she didn't find candy there, did she? Nope. What she found there started a chain of events. And now, we're here.
She was out of town at that time, so she left her son to be in charge. He opened up the door. Obviously, he liked what he seen. We started dating. We was dating for 7 years. May I add, I have another son also.
This was a long-term relationship.
Exactly. Sleeping with one person.
Apparently, the baby daddy used to be a big mama's boy, but as soon as he fell into the trap of the defendant, oh, he wasn't a mama's boy no longer. And that's exactly why Grandma was out for blood.
She came and got the candy like what she saw. You know, no, it's not like that. My thing is this. I didn't want my son with an older woman. I wanted him to be with someone on his age. That's the point of it all. Because you get these older females and it's about a control thing.
Diving through the wobbly relationship, we get to know these guys were on breaks, and the kind where the lines are blurred, if you catch my drift. And during one of those, Miss Walker ended up pregnant.
I need her to accept the child because she is accepting of the first child, but not the second one. You can't pick up the first one and don't pick up the second one.
And that hurts you, and that's why you are feeling so emotional?
Yeah.
Because you know the difference?
Yeah, and then she's a mom too.
First came the love, then came the baby. However, the plaintiff did not buy this second pregnancy. And after beating around the bush, she finally told the real reason she had those nagging doubts.
My son, he got in contact with me and was telling me, you know, he had some doubts. I was like, when last y'all been together?
Your son didn't tell you Miss Walker was even pregnant until she was 6 months pregnant?
Miss Walker didn't tell my son she was pregnant until
The 6-month gap was definitely doubtful, to say the least. And Grandma needed just one button, and she pushed the heck out of it. Furthermore, she also submitted a conception calendar based on her own math.
He explained to me that they had, you know, they was together October.
Yes.
Then they was together again in the month of March.
Yes.
The baby was born October the 31st. So that means she had to get pregnant in February.
But Miss Walker testified that they were still on a break, but still sleeping together periodically.
Well,
did he tell you that part?
No, he didn't.
Oh, Miss Swinton wasn't gonna let go of this one, was she? Nuh-uh. She had quite a few issues with the baby's features. Yep, the big one being her age. However, amidst the paternity mayhem, things took an emotional turn.
I just want the best for my son. She's not the woman for him. You know, I've heard things from the neighbors and stuff. You know, they told me, make sure he gets DNA. I'm not trying to make her shame or anything, but we know she fast.
I want to pause in this moment.
Well, we've reached the conclusion of this paternity commotion. Grandma was eagerly waiting for the results, and so were we. Let's tear open the envelope and decide the fate of this family.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Cook is the father. Beautiful to see.
Now, Your Honor, please tell her, make her bring the child by and see me.
Well, it's the weekend. You want to start this?
A 30-year-old secret was about to be unveiled. A daughter brought her mother to court seeking the truth about her biological father. Turns out she had an awesome father who soon turned out to be not the real father. The stage was set for a riveting revelation. Here we go.
I haven't seen her talk to this woman in 5 years, almost 5 years. The reason that I haven't seen her talk to her is because she's a liar. I was raised to think that a man named Jesse Seaton was my biological father. He signed my birth certificate. He cut my umbilical cord. I have since found out there was another possibility that Mr. Bryson could be my father.
Well, looky here. Miss Seaton accused her mother of paternity fraud, while Miss McPeak accused the daughter of being a stone-cold liar. Safe to say, their dynamics were rife with betrayal and secrets, keeping everyone on edge.
Why do you look like she's not telling the truth, Miss McPeak?
It's untrue.
How do you respond?
Because she's a liar. She always has been. She does whatever she can to hurt anybody. She doesn't have a heart at all.
But is she lying about the hospital saying there's not a match?
Yes, she is.
If you thought that was harsh, you better buckle up for what comes next, because the lengths of harshness this mama could go was astounding. By the looks of it, the defendant had been a shady person, or something like that.
She never thought that I was good enough for her son. He could have had DNA at that time, and he didn't want DNA. He said he was 100% sure it was his. And ever since Jessica's been old enough to talk, maybe kindergarten, she's been nothing but an habitual liar.
Wow, that's just very harsh words to say about your own daughter.
Moving on from that awkwardness, we dive into another one. Miss McPeak straight up denied all those allegations. Guess that's all she would be doing here. However, she did end up shedding light on how she got caught between these two men.
I lived with Greg Bryson at the time. I met Jesse and we were friends. We just started going out as friends. It was very close in time because I had to go home and throw Greg out, and he moved right across the street from me.
You were living with Mr. Bryson, and then you moved on and met Mr. Seaton. You were friends at first, then that developed into a sexual relationship.
Yes, Your Honor.
Finally, Mr. Greg, one of the possible fathers, stepped up. Now, he had a lot to say, and boy was he emotional and absolutely sure he was the real deal. Yes, Mama Dear hadn't been too good to him either. Whoa!
First tip, you gotta guarantee I'm the girl's father because she knows it. I come home from work, middle of Thanksgiving, there was all my stuff sitting outside. It's snowing. I'd already paid the bills. Her exact words with me was, I was out, Jessie was in, turned around the house and went partying and walked on in her house with everybody else was out in the front yard. And if it wouldn't been for people across the street, I'd had no place to stay.
Oh, baby daddy wasn't done talking. 32 years of trauma pouring right out here in the middle of paternity court. It seemed the defendant had been running circles around him all this time, and now he had enough of it. For him and for the daughter.
I asked him if he wanted one when he lived across the street, but he's right. I haven't had no contact with him, no nothing. But me being a mother, but I guess I'd have to say, if I was a father, if I thought a child was mine, why would I wait for 30-something years to even try to step into her life? That's what kind of father you'd have been.
Oh, the stakes couldn't be any higher. Either this mama's gonna lose her child for good, or Miss Seaton could have a lot of apologizing to do. Time to see which way the coin flips.
The biological father is Mr. Bryson.
Thank you. You lie. I never once.
Just hug your daughter.
Okay.
You can stay with
Why
your daughter.
did you lie?
In a world where the lines of family ties are blurred, we get into this case with bated breath. It's a tale of mother's unshakable belief in her daughter's true paternity, pitted against the conviction of another mother who vehemently denied it.
It's been more than extremely difficult being pregnant at 16, having to still go through school. These past 4 years, everything has been on me and my mother. And I feel it's completely unfair because he has a whole other side. She has a whole other side to her family. My daughter is beautiful, and you missed out on 4 years, almost 4 years of my child's life.
Prepare for the ultimate showdown of maternity versus skepticism, folks. So, there were two narratives going around town. The defendant believed the son was committed, but to someone else. And the baby mama believed it was her. Drama with a capital D.
It is your testimony today. Ms. Lusk is attempting to get a portion of that money.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's why she's claiming your deceased son is her child's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor. I never heard of Ms. Lusk.
And
Never.
that
Your
was not
son
true.
was in a committed relationship.
Amid this heart-wrenching drama, Miss Lusk highlights their romantic escapades. But Grandma wasn't falling for that one. Nope, she even went to school to check her out. Yup.
You asked to go to the school. Of course she wasn't showing. She was just pregnant.
You went to see Miss Lusk at school?
Yes, I gave
I
her
went to see her
permission.
at school
They
to
had
talk to her
call
and
and
to
act.
find out what was going on. She didn't look pregnant. She was holding her head down. She had no stomach whatsoever.
But at the same time, this was my first time meeting you, Miss Page.
Now, how did the defendant get wind of the pregnancy? Turns out, the plaintiff's mother delivered the happy news, only to be met with refusal and rejection from the other side. Moreover, Mama seemed to be proud of the late son's actions. What?
How do you know what happened?
I contacted Miss Page through Facebook to tell her to call me. She called me, and that's when I broke the news to her about my daughter being pregnant by her son. The very first thing she said to me is, my son is a legend. My son has women coming out the woodwork. She seemed proud.
So, just slandering baby mama's name wasn't enough. Miss Page started a whole other Facebook campaign. But now the baby was born, and Grandma had all kinds of trouble with the last name and the birth certificate.
You gave Samari Desmond's last name.
Without my permission.
We don't need your permission. It was permission when I laid down and was intimate with him.
No,
That's
it's not,
permission.
it's not been
That's
proven.
permission.
It's not been proven.
But it will be today.
You're not
but it
his
will
wife.
be today. You're
not his
absolutely
wife.
correct. I don't have to be, and you're not either. You wasn't in the room, Miss
I'm
Page.
his mother.
Okay, and I'm his baby mother.
Moving on, the untimely death of Mr. Legend surely made it all the more complicated, so much so, Mama got to know about the pregnancy a few days before his demise, and both parties got into an altercation about not having the time to grieve.
I didn't go to his funeral. I couldn't, because how can I show my face as, like, how can I even go? I can't even support
Miss
somebody.
Lusk, I didn't have time to grieve. I didn't have time to grieve either.
We haven't
The day after my son was killed, his first daughter was born.
I understand. Okay, I understand
serious?
completely. But you are a grown woman. I was 16.
Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. The result of this paternity twist. The suspense was palpable, and the results were in. Time to see whether these fragile ties will be broken forever or bonded strongly.
The probability of relatedness is 99.96%.
4 years. 4 years, and I never asked nothing
4
of
years,
you. I never
stop.
asked
My son's
nothing
been
of
deceased.
you.
You're supposed to do what you got to do as a mother.
Stop arguing.
Two brothers brought their mother to court, along with an old photograph at the center of a paternity puzzle. What's the shocking revelation that's about to drop like a bombshell? Well, that was the million-dollar question.
We were at a family gathering, you know, just having some drinks. Uncle Ronnie came up to me and said, you know I'm your son, you know you my son, right?
Yeah, it was basically like a family get together. It was a family function. You know how people get when they, you know, indulge. I guess he, you know, he overindulged and the truth came to light, you know, so he approached my brother.
It's not the truth.
Ooh, the plot was about Jissy. It seemed Mama Bear had a rendezvous with the ex-husband and his brother, all while the sons were blissfully unaware. But that didn't stay that way for long, now did it? Yep, the secret got out at some point.
My mom did everything in her power and her will and everything to take care of us. I'm not here to crucify my mom or nothing like that, or, you know, it ain't nothing like that. We just want to know what's going on. You know, my brother feels a certain way about something, so we here to address that. We feel like he may have a different father. That's how I feel.
So the brothers had tons of doubts, and the father only writing and sending money to one of them didn't help the doubts either. Following this narrative, Mr. Ellis went into quite the bit of detail over the different features he and his brother share, which makes them having the same father somewhat difficult.
You look at me and you look at my dad. I mean, if you had a full body shot of my dad, I'm slim like my dad. I'm built like my dad. My features like my dad. Arthur is big. He's a big guy right here. Uncle Ronnie is big. That's a big guy right there. You know, they broad. I'm skinny. I'm slim, you know.
Well,
his hair is different from my hair.
So how did she end up pregnant? Well, the family couch might as well have a "you must be this desperate to sleep here" sign. Boy, it was a wild ride of overindulgence, secrets, and unexpected revelations. Take a peek yourself.
They were basically trading me off. You don't trade off people like that. I was just used. I was shifted from one man to another man. So I had a hard life. I had to struggle. In any kind of way it meant for me to stay alive, I stayed alive.
Next up, Mr. McClellan shared what he thought about the whole situation. And guess what? He did believe one of the brothers to be his, but the doubts were multiplying like gremlins in a pool. But hold on, because now we were tossing another name into the mix. Dear Lord!
My brother had put her and Eugene out, and they came back to Chicago and lived with me. And while they were living with me, she said we only had sex once. She must have meant we only had sex once sober. You hear me? That's what she must have meant, you know? Because she can't even remember the first time.
So, cool breeze! It appears he had a big role to play in this paternity pandemonium as well. Mommy had been busy trying to keep a roof over the boys' heads. But will she be able to keep them or lose them for good now?
I can see there's just been so much history and just herd after herd, and then the secrecy, and your mother's openly saying, I'm dating these older men, I'm this young woman, there's so much going on. But as the story continues to unfold, there are more potential fathers.
We're at the edge of our seats here, people, to solve this decades-old mystery. However, no spoilers yet, because now 3 candidates were up for fatherhood. And before this went any further, the family gets swept up in one final altercation. There were tears, complaints, and hugs. Tissues, anyone?
Because I try to protect them with the little white lie here and there. You don't understand, Eugene.
We want the truth.
Back in the 70s, it was a nightmare to go through, son. Hug each other. No more of this nonsense. Don't hurt yourselves. Very hard, Your Honor. I'm still, like they're 5 years old, I'm still guiding.
The moment of reckoning had arrived, and the truth was out there. Brothers get united for the results. That would make them or break them. Here was the final verdict.
It has been determined by this court. John Ellis is your father.
Oh, hey.
I would get Alice.
You hear me?
I was getting ready to go to Puerto Rico.
I needed that.